You would think late autumn would be a time to finally put our feet up and relax, but all in good time. There are a few tasks to be done first, including some very satisfying jobs like starting off herbs, salads and fruit for free. Best get on with it then. Netting is very handy for keeping birds off fruit such as berries and currants, but as autumn really starts to bite and with branches laid bare, it's time to invite our feathered friends in to do a spot of pest control. So remove netting from around fruits to let the birds in. They will hop around on the hunt for overwintering grubs and eggs, leaving your soil cleansed for next spring. In other parts of the garden, it's time to get the netting on. These sprouting broccoli, for example, need to be covered up from the pigeons, which are now on the hunt for something tasty. So to support the netting, I'm just going to push in some corner posts of bamboo here, and then to stop me poking my eye out, I'm going to add a bottle here just on the top to keep us safe, and obviously that will hold the netting once it's thrown over. Now, to stop birds hopping in and accidentally getting trapped, I'm just pinning down the edges of the netting with these tent pegs to get a nice taut finish and keep it all flush to the ground. Peppers and chili peppers are plants that with care will crop year after year. Now, they are normally grown as annuals, sown in the spring, harvested in the summer and then ditched when they're done. But because they are perennials, they can be successfully overwintered, giving you bigger plants for next season and an even bigger harvest. Plants will need protecting from frost, and that means bringing them indoors. Now, larger plants can be reduced by about a third by just making a cut above a bud or leaf joint to reduce the framework of the plant to a more manageable size that fits on a windowsill. These are my chili peppers here, and you can see they're a rather puny size. I think it's because they've been quite shaded this far down, so they never really quite got going, and it's been quite a cool summer. And you can see some have got what looks like earwig damage. Never mind, I'm going to dig them up now, and then they'll be potted up, moved inside, and we'll bring them outside in the spring. So I'll move these guys to a nice bright windowsill, and then I will gradually reduce the watering because they do need to be kind of rested over the winter, and I'm going to put them in a room that isn't heated to give that kind of like nice cooler temperature so that it doesn't think it's still the growing season. And with the water reduced, they'll tick away over the winter, and then as light levels improve in early spring, I'll gradually tick up the water as they start into fresh growth, and then I will acclimatise them before bringing them back out here. And then next season, so they get more light, I'm just going to grow them up on the bench over there where they'll be brought up and get that sunshine they really need. Hardwood cuttings are a super easy, super reliable way to bulk out your fruit garden. Great for bushes such as currants, gooseberries and blueberries. Now, as soon as the plants have shed their leaves and gone dormant, you're good to go in there and get your cuttings. We're looking for growth in this case. These are currants of about pencil thickness and this season's growth, nice and young and vigorous. And here are some that I rooted last autumn. And you can see they've put on some lovely fresh growth, and they've even started branching out. So let's see what we've got. And as you can see, these have got a really great root system already. And I can just plant them now into their final positions, and then they will have all autumn and winter to kind of settle down before growth resumes again in spring. Look at them. Before we plant the cuttings, we need to prepare them. So we want them between about 20 to 30 centimetres, that is 8 to 12 inches long. And you trim the bottom off just flush, just below a bud, and the top at a slant at an angle, just above a bud like that. And that's a great little cutting there. We're just tidying them up. And the slant at the top is important because that allows any sort of moisture to kind of drain off. Stops the risk of it rotting. There we are. Most cuttings, especially woody cuttings like these, will need a really free draining potting mix. So I've added my potting mix, but I've also added and mixed in some sand, but you could also use grit or something like perlite, just something to improve that drainage. Now with our container full, I'm just going to push the cuttings in so they are about 2/3 buried, with just the top third showing proud of the potting mix. In they go. And then I will grow these on, probably in my little cold frame, but actually anywhere outside that's fairly sheltered, say against a wall, would be fine. And then they'll just be kept lightly watered over the winter, and they should sprout in spring. Want some herbs to tide you over this winter? Then dig some up and bring them inside out of the cold to grow on. Now you can do this with a number of leafy herbs such as, say, mint, this oregano, chives, and this parsley here, which is what we're going to dig up now. Just get as much of the root as you can, cut back any dead leaves, and then pot it up into fresh compost and grow it on a warm, sunny windowsill indoors to pick and enjoy as needed. It's gonna be a long, long time. A really hard-working option for either an indoor windowsill or on a greenhouse bench like this is arugula or rocket. Now this does really well from an autumn sowing, and you can use any shallow tray that you've got to hand. This is an old fruit tray that had, I think, strawberries in it, and you can see, look, it comes with drainage holes already. How convenient. Just pop in your potting mix, and then we're going to sow the seeds nice and thinly over the top. And then to finish, just a very light sprinkling of more potting mix so they go out of sight. Now I think I'll grow these on in here to start with, but then I can move them indoors when it does get much colder. And to get a continuous succession of harvests, you might want to sow one of these, say, every 2 to 3 weeks. Now come and have a look at this. Here are some rocket or arugula that actually just self-sowed here. I must have been doing something in there and dropped some seeds, and it's about 2 or 3 weeks old, and look, it's ready to cut. So this just goes to show what an incredibly hardy and resilient salad leaf this is. You can grow it, as I say, in the greenhouse here or indoors on a sunny windowsill, and it's very versatile. Now is the time to get on and spread the goodness that will fuel next year's growth. Beautiful organic matter such as compost or well-rotted manure. Just look at this stuff. It's so beautiful, you could almost eat it. Start adding it to any empty beds as they become available, and then we want to spread it to a depth of about 1 inch or 3 centimetres deep. Now you can also just add it around actively growing crops like winter brassicas. That's no problem. It'll kind of rot down over the winter there as well. And don't be afraid to get in there with your hand and spread it out. This is what autumn's all about. If you don't have really mucky, smelly hands by the end of it, then what's the point of it all? I love to get down and dirty with my compost or manure at this time of year. Now, the reason we spread it on is in kind of autumn is that it's got all winter then to kind of break down with the freeze-thaw action. And of course, those worms will be able to get in there too and draw it down so that you'll have a lovely, ready to plant into surface by spring. This is great. There are already so many worms in here. I've seen little centipedes and little pill bugs or woodlice. This is really full of life already. Badly damaged, dead or yellowed leaves are worth removing from winter vegetables like brassicas. As well as helping to keep everything nice and tidy and reducing the risk of diseases like moles, it will reduce overwintering opportunities for pests like slugs and snails, which can still be active on milder days. Best not give them an easy time of it, right? Did you know that frosty weather improves the flavour of so many of our cold season staples, such as brassicas like Brussels sprouts and cabbage, leeks, and most notably root crops like parsnips? And every bout of cold weather only serves to improve that taste. This happens because the frost converts starches into sugars, dramatically improving that all-important flavour. So in theory, your produce will only improve in flavour over time. I can't wait to get this roasted with a little bit of honey. Yummy. There are two types of raspberries, summer fruiting varieties and autumn fruiting varieties. In a mild autumn like we're getting now, you may find that autumn fruiters carry right on up until now. Now, autumn fruiting types are the very easiest to grow. They need less in the way of support, and because they fruit on the current season's growth, at the end of the season, once they've shed all their leaves, all you have to do is just prune them back right down to ground level like that. And I'll be doing that at some point in the next few weeks. Later in the winter, you can cover the area around your raspberries with some organic matter such as compost or leaf mould. This will help to feed the soil, and then your shoots will push through in spring, ready for next season's harvest. Mid to late autumn can be a surprisingly busy time if you're looking to get yourself a jump start on the next season. And there are two crops that I absolutely insist you sow or plant, and they are garlic and fava or broad beans. Now these can be started and planted directly in the ground. I've got some garlic in here I started off last week. And you can also start them off in pots or toilet roll tubes or plug trays, so you've got lots of options there. Garlic is a must for sheer flavour, and fava beans will give you the very first beans of the season, and I love those in dips or maybe in a spring fresh risotto. If you'd like to know how to grow them, then check out this video. In the meantime, enjoy your garden and be sure to get a bit of dirt under your fingernails. It's good for you. I'll catch you next time.